Okay, everybody, welcome back to After the Tassel Season 3. This will be our final podcast of the semester. And with us today is our special guest, Clara Baldwin, who is an alum of Westminster College. She graduated in December of 2019, so almost 2 years ago, majored in business administration, had an emphasis in marketing and computer science. So we welcome you here today, Clara. So we're wanting to know more about your life after the tassel, and we're going to get into the grit of it here in just a few moments. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself after graduation?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to think a little because it just feels like a whirlwind since then. But I graduated in December of 2019. I had a job lined up for a marketing agency in California. It was in Manhattan Beach. It was a remote position, but I started right away, like a week after I got I graduated from Westminster. And yeah, it's a pretty funny story because I just always dreamed of working corporately, like being the businesswoman, all dressed up and working my way to the top. But before that, I guess people who know me, I've always been kind of in the entrepreneur space. Like I was always working on projects when I was at Westminster. I started my nonprofit and this what I have now, which is called Ground Plan Studio Marketing. I started that as a junior in college, but I never took it serious enough. I didn't believe in myself enough to like actually take that as a full-time thing. So I used it as like a resume builder and gave me some cash for college, but it wasn't, my full-time gig. So anyways, I went to this marketing agency, quickly found out it was nothing what I was expecting. I was working like 60 hours a week for not much
Wow.
pay. And it was just really stressful. But I was still like, you know what, this is what I should expect. This is like normal for someone out of college. I was willing to put in the work and just stick with them. But yeah, New Year's comes and it was 11 o'clock. I was with a lot of friends and we're out in Kansas City where I'm based now. And I got an email saying I was let go. They had budget
Oh,
cuts and I was laid off. So I was just getting into it like 3 weeks in and boom, I was jobless. And I was so upset. It was like an hour before the new year. So I was
yeah.
ringing in the new year like unemployed and really sad. And that night was pretty rough for me. But I'm my current, well, now fiance, we just got engaged. I was living with him in Kansas City. We moved in together senior year and he was starting his career as well. He's an entrepreneur for an insurance agency and he was just, we were sitting there and I was very down and out for a couple days, but I was trying to search LinkedIn for jobs and just find another job really quickly. But he just looked at me and was like, you know what? I think you do really well and you need to believe in like yourself as an entrepreneur again and take that route. So I started Ground Plan Studio, which is what I'm doing right now full time. It's a marketing agency that's a one-stop shop for graphic design, search engine optimization, ads, market funnels, everything you can imagine, it's there. So that is what I'm currently doing. And I also have a nonprofit that's domestic abuse victims. And I started that a while ago. It's completely 100% donation based. It's just a passion of mine. Like I get nothing out of it. If anything, I lose a lot of money going towards it. That's how much I love it. But I podcast with victims around the world that are in unfortunate abusive situations to raise money for them and others to get out of their abusive situations. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Wow. And a lot. You've been busy.
Yeah, very.
So, Claire, one of the first areas we're going to ask you about is what led you to choose Westminster College?
Yes. Can I just say I love Westminster? Like that is still my favorite.
Of course.
And like we have a huge group of friends up here in Kansas City and around the US or whatever. And we text every single day. And like obviously that is what led me to Westminster was the very personable feeling there. So I'm from Columbia, Missouri. I was destined to go to Mizzou as all of my friends. And there was something inside of me that was like, I don't belong here. I just really like more personal feelings because I grew up there and it was just very shallow relationships. And I just wasn't getting deep with anyone. And like, your classroom, like I sat in those classrooms just to see. And it was like, I sat on the floor one time. It was so crowded. So I just wasn't digging that. And when I took my tour, I remember it was like a really cold day and it was snowing and there wasn't anyone on campus. But I do remember that every time I walked around, like I couldn't pass one teacher, professor, staff member without them stopping me and saying hi. And
Nice.
and just like the students there were just so friendly and like, just getting to know me. I got to know a girl, I forgot her name, but I sat in a class with her and she led me through stuff, just to see like the environment. And yeah, I fell in love with like that small feeling, the personable feeling. And yeah, and then when I went there, it just every single year, like obviously freshman year was rough for me. I was going through a lot, but every year after that, I fell in love 10 times more every year with the campus and the people. And now like all those people are my bridesmaids and like my fiance, he went to Westminster and it's just a really special place for us that we always talk about and we have a million memories with. And I don't think you can understand like the love and the feeling you have at Westminster until you go there. But yeah, I love it.
Oh, nice. We appreciate you saying that very much.
Absolutely.
And congratulations on the engagement too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you ought to come back and get married in the church since it's so.
Oh, I know. Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah.
It's just gorgeous. It's a beautiful place to have weddings.
Oh yeah, it's very pretty. I hear it's always booked, but
Yeah. Well, as far as your current job, since your fiance really encouraged you to, re-energize that, what excites you most about your current position, your current job?
yeah, honestly, like every day I just sit down and I'm just really grateful for like the freedom it gives me. And it's just a crazy feeling to know like the support financially and everything. Like I'm doing that all by myself. And I think that's the most exciting thing is I can grow as much as I want. Like the limit, I mean, doesn't exist. Like you can just keep growing every day as much as you want. And just meeting the people I meet every day. Like I work in different industries every single day. Like one day it'll be like CBD, the next day it's financial, and then the next day it's like, I don't know, fashion. It could be anything. So I think that's the most exciting thing, like just learning so much and like meeting people all over the US is super fun. But yeah, just like the freedom and just feeling like, wow, that achievement that I'm supporting myself because I built this and I'm growing it. So
Well, I have to ask, since you mentioned it earlier, how many hours a week are you putting into this job since it's your baby?
yeah, so it's pretty crazy. That's another thing I love about this job because when I first started working, obviously you have to put in a lot of hours, you're building, you're doing a lot. But now I have around 30 employees, so I'm just outsourcing a lot. I outsource, but I want to stay the creative. Like my dream is to be like, I am the front end that makes the blueprints for everything, like designs, the plan, the strategy. And I make the very first, round, I guess, of graphics and like doing everything. And then after that, I outsource to my employees that I trust a lot and like they get me and we work well together. So I'd say right now I'm working 15 hours a week. But some weeks are really hectic and I work a lot more. But my goal is to obviously, work less, make more money and just keep doing that because eventually you can't get around it and the hours will build up. So
Sure.
I would imagine it's kind of difficult to kind of have to set those boundaries really early in your career and do that. But so during your time, what would you feel are like the biggest lessons you've learned since starting that? I would imagine that's, with being an entrepreneur, there's a lot you have to learn on the fly. But what would you say were these things you've learned?
yeah, so much, but I think like you just have to remember that the downside of being a business owner is like you're going to be in a roller coaster all the time. You're not going to be expecting, every day is different. And sometimes you're thrown things that are such curveballs where you're going to feel very emotional, but you can't think with your emotions. And I'm a very, very sensitive person. Like I had thin skin, like going into my business, and I learned quickly, like, you have to stay composed and professional because you can't avoid the fails and you can't avoid the losses. It's just impossible. Otherwise, everyone would be just rich and happy. But yeah,
We can only wish.
yeah, I know, exactly. So I learned really quickly, like, no matter what, just remember why you're doing it, and every failure is a big lesson to you, and just to learn from that and move on. Yeah, I think I'd say that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it takes someone very brave to, even start a business and get this going on their feet. And you talk to us about things that you've learned. What kind of advice would you have for someone, anybody who's listening, a student who might be doing a concentration in entrepreneurship here at Westminster? What would be your biggest advice to them?
Yeah, I would say definitely just say yes. Like, I wish I said yes to things more when I was in college, but I had a lot of, I would sometimes get anxiety about an opportunity, or like I didn't want to meet someone or go somewhere by myself. But if you open up those doors and you just find that little inkling in you just to say yes, you'll be amazed how many opportunities and things you'll learn. And also just be resourceful. I feel like in college it's easy to sit back and just watch life like fly by, and it's so fun and you're just with your friends all the time, and it's great to, have a social life and do everything, but you have to remember when you're in college, like maybe set up yourself. Like I wish I did. Like I wish I studied more about my financial strategy after college and studied more about investments, saved more money. Yeah, if you just work on more self-improvement during college instead of, letting yourself eat a pizza every day and just like sleep the day away, it probably will set you up and make you feel better when you're thrown out into this world. At least you're like, well, I worked on myself a lot more in college, so it'll be smoother.
Do you feel that there's one thing that kind of stands out, like off the top of your head, that you kind of wish you focused on, or you recommend that other people focus on?
Yeah, again, I just think like just taking advantage of more opportunities and meeting people. Like there's so many things you can do at Westminster, that just events and connecting to people and working on your people skills. And there are so many opportunities as well on that campus where you can have one conversation that opens up a door for a whole new life, like, or a new job, or like a new resource. And I mean, for example, I was in Blue Blazers, and I don't know why I almost didn't join, but then I did, and then went on exec board, and then we went to New York, and that trip still to this day like changed my life. Like it was the best trip ever. We met the top executives of every company, people you don't just walk into the door and you get to like talk to. And just we networked the whole time, and it really did change my perspective on like, wow, if I didn't just get off the couch watching TV and like go and try and meet new people, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. I incidentally saw Brock Ayers is a very big proponent of alumni relations and career services. I get an email from him, I think maybe weekly or bi-weekly.
Yeah, he stopped emailing me.
Yeah. Well, he sent a picture of a trip that you were on. And I quickly recognized you. You're like on the far right corner. I was like, hey, there's Clara. All the students that had the New York skyline in the background.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that one.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. It was an amazing trip, but yeah, he's great, and he's a big person who like pushed me a lot. I remember he always saw something in me, and he would say that, and he would just be like, you just need to, like, we would be in a group in New York, and he would kind of like nudge me and make me go talk to an executive, even though I was like so scared. But he pushed me, and he's a big reason why like I developed a lot after college.
Awesome. That's great to hear. I mean, sometimes, just having somebody in their corner to give you that boost of confidence, and like you said, just that little nudge, that little shove in the right direction.
It can change your life.
And I really like to just like telling other people, just be able to get outside your comfort zone. I mean, it's a really neat time and opportunity that you meet so many different people. You're exposed to so many different ideas and information and opportunities that you're right. If you sit down and you let it pass you by, it's that time's going to pass by. So I 100% agree with you. And
yes, very important.
Do you feel like a trip like that, or did that trip help build your confidence in working with these Fortune 500 companies and these celebrities that you're working with? I can't imagine the client profile you have is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's surreal. I mean, even with the startups, like I will never forget my first lead I had. Like this woman responded to an ad I put out for my agency. She said, I want to talk to you about, you doing my marketing. It was my first client ever. And I just remember I went out of the Starbucks parking lot because I was so nervous about taking the call inside, and I was sitting in the car and I was just practicing what I was going to say, and I was shaking. And yeah, I think the trip really helped because it just like makes you talk to people. And if you just remember, like, everyone's human and you just
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
have confidence, like you're the same person as them. Like honestly, some startup people make me more nervous than like some celebrities I've worked with. Like, and startup people are sometimes way better of a person than a celebrity or a top person. So I don't know. I just choose to treat everyone like on the same wavelength and just believe like my formula that works for startups, I believe works just as good for celebrities, and I'm going to give them the same treatment. But yeah, I would say that that trip really helped me a lot because I was just kind of thrown in a fire every day, just talking to people, excuse me. And yeah, and that's what I do today. So it helped a lot.
Nice.
So why don't you tell us more about the Cure Medical Marketing? You said you just launched that. Tell us a little bit more about that business.
Yes. So in the marketing world, everyone likes to say that if you're not niching down to one industry, you are missing out on a lot of financial gain and just effectiveness, whatever. And I'm a big believer, like, I love all industries, so I'm always going to welcome all industries. But I just wanted to open that agency to say, like, I told you so, basically. Like, I don't care. So I opened up a medical one, which is my sister agency to Ground Plan Studio. It's called Cure, and that one only deals with doctors and doctor practices, medicine practices, telehealth, I don't know, all of it. So I love it a lot. But I would say I like all industries. That one, however, it's cool just to work with one niche. So it's basically one agency still, but they're like sisters to each other. It's just opening up more doors to, present to doctors or medicine practices like, hey, we only market towards medical. And that kind of gives us kind of a gain over just a general agency, I guess.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, when we were reaching out to you, and I'd heard your name over this last several years, in different conversations, and I know you've overcome a lot of adversity to get where you're at now. Can you tell some of our listeners, not in detail, but how that adversity shaped you and made you the person that you became? How all of that you went through as a family propelled you to where you're at now?
Yeah, no, I don't mind talking at all about it. I think the podcast made me comfortable to speak about details even. But yeah, as for people who don't know, I was raised in somewhat of a abusive household, or a very abusive household. My dad was physically, emotionally abusive to my mom and to us kids. I have a brother and a sister who are very close in age to me. So we're all like triplets. And I just remember we would always cling to each other and like go through a lot in the household with that stuff. Makes it very hard. And I wish, like, obviously when you get older, you look at your adversity as like a huge triumph and gain and the positive thing. But when you're going through that, especially as a high school kid,
Mm-hmm.
when you just want to be liked and you feel like a freak when you have things going on at home, like, all I did was bottle that up until I was at Westminster. No one knew what I was going through. And my mom and dad were together for 20 years. And my mom left and I left the day after high school graduation. So like, just imagining that, like, is crazy. It feels like another life. But when I went to Westminster, I remember like my parents weren't with me. I was moving in alone. I didn't even have pillows for my bed. Like, I just had nothing and had no idea what I was doing. I had no money. So I love to emphasize that, like, you really can still go to college. Like you guys, Westminster made it so amazing because I was so intimidated and almost didn't go to college, but they were like, you can do this. Like, there are financial options for you. We can walk you through it. And obviously you won't know what's going on, but we can help you. So I'm very thankful for that. And yeah, I feel like in general in life, the adversity that I went through, it makes me a very sympathetic person and like a people person. I feel like when I look at someone, I can feel their pain, I can feel their happiness, because that's all I did growing up, was just feel so many emotions. And it makes me like super hardworking. And I just want to like emphasize, just because I come off as confident, come off as a successful person, sometimes like I still have lots of adversity, insecurities, trauma. Like I deal with a lot of stuff on the day, and no one seems to be the person they are on the surface. Like just to love other people is my goal in life, and like help other people. So yeah, I mean, it shaped me overall. Like I would not be even close to the same person without that adversity.
Well, you definitely kept yourself busy in high school and in college, and you talked about how your first semester here at Westminster was trying and was a challenge. Was there anybody in particular or an office here on campus that helped you through those times, or any organization or I mean, you talked about your friend group, but are there any other resources on campus that helped?
Yeah, I just think like honestly, all of my professors, like just the care they had for me, and like just the time they take and how hard they work, like you can see that everyone has something going on in their life, no matter who
Mhm.
you come across. Like I just love that campus because it's so personable, to where you just know like you're not alone. And like I feel like in a big campus, you would feel even more alone. And that's just
Yeah.
my opinion. But yeah, I mean, every professor I went to, like say I was having a hard day, I could not study, I could not turn in my homework because of some stuff going on in my personal life. Like they were always just like, all right, no problem, like take one more day. Or they would just be very accommodating to me. And even if I didn't go into detail of what was going on, I would just simply say like, I have so much going on right now and I just need one more day. Or like they would always say yes. Like I never had one situation
Yeah.
said no. And that was made a huge difference in my college career. um yeah, and then just everyone. Yeah. And the students obviously are like my family, and I couldn't have got through anything without them.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's a great story, and James and I can attest that that still goes on here on campus now. Working in the Student Success Center here at Westminster, and we meet with students on a very frequent basis, and we know that those relationships are still there with their professors, and that's still going on. I think that is going to be our legacy to students.
Yeah.
Is just that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful.
And I really feel too that with your nonprofit and your podcast, with being able to give a voice to people that have had similar experiences to yours, it's going to make a difference. It makes a difference, like you said. You as a high school student, you felt alone in that situation, but I would imagine someone going through a very similar situation is able to hear that and see that they're not alone. So I'm a very big fan that you're doing that, and
Thank you.
it's going to go a long way. That's really neat to see.
Thank you.
We can't get away from the podcast without talking about your proudest accomplishment. I mean, you have so many awards to unload here, but you're also recently nominated for Woman of the Year for Women's Business Awards. And I know that voting is up right now. And I want to plug that, but I want you to tell us first, what has been the most proud since graduating, your accomplishment?
Yeah, I think last year I didn't get first, but I only, well, this business is only 2 years old, but after a year of like a lot of trial and error, I got MadCon, which is the biggest marketing conference in Vegas. I got scored as like 47 out of 100 top leaders of the year. So
Wow.
that was a big accomplishment for me. Yeah, and then moving forward, like you said, I'm up for ABC's Women Business Awards, Businesswoman of the Year, and I think I'm the youngest, so I'm just really happy about that. Yeah, just even being nominated is enough. Like, I mean, I hope it would, like, if I got first, it would be a lot of funding for Piece Over Pieces and open many, many doors for business. But I'm just really happy, like, I've come this far so quickly.
How did you get nominated? Was it by peers or fellow business?
Actually, a client, yeah, a client nominated me, and she emailed me. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know about that conference or anything, but yeah, and that's how I won the other one too. I guess one of my first clients nominated me, and yeah, she was like, "Well, voting goes up soon. You made it through the final round, and we're here."
Wow. All this pay it forward stuff going on in your, it's working out for you. You're doing all great things for your clients and for survivors of abuse. You know, you're telling their story and getting their story out there so we can learn more about it and help and donate to your cause. I think it's all coming back tenfold to you.
Oh, thank you.
So tell us more about this. How can we vote for you? How can we support you?
Yes, I have, the link is kind of long, but it's in a link, and
You can post it under YouTube.
yeah. So you would click that link and then go under the category of Businesswoman of the Year. My name will be there, and then you can vote that way. You'll have to leave a little paragraph, which is insane. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate any efforts to that. Yeah.
We'll definitely support you for that. So when did the nominations close?
Oh yeah, sorry, December 1st. So
December 1st.
a couple weeks left. And it started on November 1st.
Okay. So I'm writing all this stuff down. Well, James, do you have anything else you want to ask, or?
You know what? So for sorry, I got far in my throat. So if you offer anything to your college age self, so advice, words of wisdom, what would you give yourself?
Ooh, I would just say, like, just really enjoy it and don't overthink and worry so much. All of my friends and me were always worrying about the next step and what our career would be. I really truly think, like, whatever career you have, wherever you are in your life, it's meant to be. And that's cliche to say, but I truly think, like, everything happens for a reason. You will fall into the place you need to be, and there is no pace for it. Like, a lot of my friends, they didn't have jobs because of COVID. After they graduated in spring, I graduated in December, so I was a little ahead, but a lot of them were kind of jobless for a while, and I was just there for them. Like, you realize, like, we're still really young. You still have your whole life to figure this out, and just don't feel the pressures of anything. Like, also just think about life. Like, life is so short, and I mean, I'm already 25 and I feel like I'm still 21. So yeah, just really enjoy every day.
It goes by quickly, doesn't it? 4 years.
It's sad. Like, I'm getting married and I'm 25. It was crazy, but yeah, enjoy.
So when are you getting married? Next spring, next summer?
No, we're pushing it to 2023. We want to take our time. So yeah, I think May 2023.
Nice. So yeah, take your time, get it done the way that you want it done. And I know I just thrown a wrench in so many plans and stuff. So hopefully all goes on without a hitch.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, if there's anything else, just let us know how we can help you, support your cause. And we're definitely going to put all your links to vote for you for your nomination for the Women's Business Awards on our YouTube page. We can post that on LinkedIn as well. But we just want to thank you again for taking the time out of your day to speak with us and with our listeners.
Thank you. Yeah, and I was going to say one more note. Any students who listen to this, I'm happy to give internships out this summer. Like, they'll only work, I won't overwork them. I'll just give them all the experience and, like, straightforward internship for either the nonprofit, or they can internship the either or the medical agency or Grand Blend Studio. I currently have 10 interns right now, and yeah, we'll have some fun.
Whoa.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, send them all to me. Like, I always have work to do, and, like, they'll get hands-on. So
well, those are two really good opportunities as well too. Again, you cover a wide variety of areas, and especially with the nonprofit area as well. I know we have a lot of students that are interested in
yeah, of course, if they're from Westminster, yes, just yes.
That's awesome. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, like James, he's our internship coordinator, so we'll be talking
Oh, good.
probably once we get done with this recording. So
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. It was great talking to you.
you too, you take care and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.